Hello, today I'm going to do another video about Allergra Printz's Ring Cycle Tarot, which is based on the operas by Richard Wagner and illustrated by Arthur Rackham. And in this video I'm going to do a trip through the majors in the tarot deck, looking at why the characters and situations from the operas have been chosen to represent these major arcana. I'm not going to make another video doing the same with the minors, partly because it would go on forever, and partly also because for this and for the minors, Allergra Printz does a very good job of telling stories of why these characters and situations are chosen for the cards herself in the wonderful book that goes with the tarot deck. But just for the majors, I've prepared my own notes on why I think these characters and situations are associated with the majors, so that I don't go on forever onto one of my famous rambles. I've prepared myself a sort of script, so excuse me if it sounds like I'm reading from a script from time to time, because basically I am. Here we go. The Fool is Siegfried. Siegfried in the Ring Cycle is a typical Wagnerian hero. He's an orphan, a person without a past, untutored, uneducated, and brought up with very few human interactions and experiences. Like another one of Wagner's heroes in the same mould, Parsifal, you could think of Siegfried as the pure fool. Siegfried doesn't know any fear, and he wants to learn it. In his quest for fear, he learns love. And Siegfried is famously both carefree and careless. The Magician, Loge, god of fire. Loge appears as fire in all four of the operas, but he appears as a human-shaped singing character only in the first opera, Das Rheingold, where he's a sort of trickster figure, sometimes very obviously untrustworthy, but nevertheless with some sense of loyalty and a kind of fiery wisdom. At the end of Das Rheingold, Loge prophesies about the gods, saying, "They're hastening to their end. I might burn them up. Who knows what I'll do?" And of course, at the end of Götterdämmerung, the fourth opera, he does burn up the gods. The High Priestess, Erda. Erda is the primeval earth goddess, the archetypal wise woman. She warns Wotan, the chief god, of the consequences of possessing Alberich's cursed ring. We're going to meet Erda's daughters, the Norns, later in the major arcana when we get to the Wheel of Fortune card, because Erda's dreams become the fate of the world. She says very little, but the little that she says has great consequences. The Empress, Fricka, wife of Wotan, the chief god. In the Ring Cycle, Fricka is a stern and very strong-willed figure. She even overrules Wotan, who calls her Storm and Trouble, the original Old Trouble and Strife. As goddess of marriage, Fricka stands for established norms in behavior and ethics, and she is intolerant of anything new. The Emperor, Wotan, chief of the gods, father of the incestuous lovers Siegmund and Sieglinde, father also of the 9 Valkyries, though none of those children's mothers are Wotan's wife Fricka. Wotan is a classically tragic figure. His downfall happens because of his failings, and the story of his downfall dominates the whole Ring Cycle. A key moment for Wotan comes when he realizes that he's tied up with all his treaties, agreements and laws, and he sees that the story will be resolved by one who is freer than I, the god. The Hierophant, Brunhilde. Wotan's Valkyrie daughter, she starts out as one of the goddesses who carry dead heroes from the battlefield to Valhalla. But Brunhilde is also called Wotan's will, his other self. When she becomes mortal, she learns wisdom and understanding through the experience of betrayal, and at the end of Götterdämmerung she sings, all things, now I understand," and she consigns the gods to their end. The Lovers, Siegmund and Sieglinde. Their tragedy is that, though they become lovers, they are also twin brother and sister, children of Wotan and a mortal mother. Siegmund and Sieglinde's love is so strong that Siegmund prefers to stay with Sieglinde rather than go to the hero's afterlife in Valhalla. Their love condemns them to destruction, but their child is Siegfried, who becomes the perfectly free hero. The Chariot, Grane, Brunhilde's horse, who helps her transport dead heroes to Valhalla, and who also carries Sieglinde when Brunhilde rescues her from Wotan's wrath. In modern opera productions, an actual horse hardly ever appears, but that doesn't really matter because on another level, Grane is an expression of the will and intent of his rider Brunhilde. Chariot and charioteer are profoundly connected. Strength, the sword Notung. Originally Siegmund's sword, broken by Wotan, but reforged by Siegmund's son Siegfried. But the scene depicted on the card isn't just one of brute force. It's in killing the dragon Fafner that Siegfried first sets out on a journey of inner discovery and insight. The card might also symbolize perseverance. In the second opera, Die Walküre, Notung is broken by a blow from Wotan's spear, but when it's later reforged, Notung breaks the spear. The Hermit, Wanderer Wotan. In the third opera, Siegfried, Wotan has given up intervening in the world and has become the wanderer, just observing. He still carries his spear, the symbol of his divine power, and he can still strike fear into Mima's heart, but it's as the wanderer that he finally withdraws from action altogether and retreats to Valhalla to await the inevitable end of the gods. The wanderer also gets into a riddling contest with Mima, where he emphasizes the importance of asking the right questions. The Wheel of Fortune, the Norns. Daughters of Erda, each night these three weave the rope of the world's destiny. They can weave the future only because of their deep knowledge of past and present. Their scene in Götterdämmerung, which could so easily have been the story so far, actually presents us with views of what's happened that we haven't seen before. So the Norns give new perspective. And on that night in Götterdämmerung, their rope breaks. The world has no future. Justice, Wotan's spear. Even in very modern productions of The Ring that reinterpret the operas, Wotan will nearly always be seen with his spear. It's central to the story. On it are carved in magical runes the contracts and treaties that Wotan has entered into. The spear shatters the sword Notung, but is later itself broken by the reforged Notung, wielded by the free hero Siegfried, who respects no laws. Later we learn from the Norns that Wotan cut his spear from the great ash tree that underpins the structure of the world, and that from that moment the tree began to die. The Hanged Woman, Brunhilde bound. When Brunhilde disobeys Wotan, he condemns her as a traitor and sentences her to destruction. In a long scene between the two of them, Brunhilde barters with him. She may have disobeyed his command, she says, but she obeyed his secret desire. Bit by bit, Wotan reduces her sentence, and he eventually decrees that she will become a mortal woman and she'll sleep on her mountain protected by a circle of fire until she's rescued by a fearless hero. Death. The Valkyries. The Valkyries don't represent just any death, but specifically the death of heroes. The Valkyries are 9 sister goddesses who transport heroes who fall in battle to a life of feasting and celebrating in Valhalla. But Wotan, presiding over the heroes in Valhalla, has another agenda. The heroes are his army, ready in case Alberich regains the ring. Temperance or magic? The Tarnhelm. Here, Allergra Printz has moved closer to Aleister Crowley's tarot, where Arcanum 14 is art, the art of alchemy, which is partly about change, so Allergra Printz calls it magic. The Tarnhelm is a magic cap or helmet made by Mima the blacksmith. Anybody who wears it can change shape at will. It's the Tarnhelm that keeps the giant Fafnir in the form of a dragon, and later in Götterdämmerung, Siegfried uses the Tarnhelm to disguise himself as Gunther and kidnap Brunhilde. The Devil. The Ring of Power. Possess the ring and you'll be rich and rule the world. That's what the Rhine maidens tell Alberich at the very beginning of Das Rheingold. In reality, the ring possesses him and becomes an object for lust and greed. People have argued over what the power of the ring in the operas actually is. Or is its power whatever people give it? In the end, only Hierophant Brunhilde can do what Alberich, Wotan, Siegfried and Hagen have all failed to do: throw the ring away and let the Rhine maidens take it back. The Tower. Valhalla. The home of the gods, built by the giants, paid for by the gold and the ring that Wotan steals from Alberich, which he in turn stole from the Rhine maidens. Valhalla becomes a symbol of the gods' arrogance, but it's also the home of heroes who died in battle. At the very end of Götterdämmerung, the twilight of the gods, Valhalla falls, burned by Loge, with the gods inside. The Star. Freya. Freya is the goddess who's initially offered by Wotan to the giants as payment for Valhalla. Wotan's wife Fricka is of course outraged at this, as are Fricka's brothers Donna and Fro. But there's more to it. Freya grows the golden apples, which the gods eat each day to maintain their eternal youth, and as soon as she's abducted, the gods begin to age and weaken. Only when she returns are they revitalized. So Freya symbolizes hope, also beauty and youth, but also maybe a sort of vulnerability. The Moon. The Rhine maidens. There's a visual parallel with traditional tarot decks in that the Moon card shows an underwater scene, and of course the Rhine maidens live mostly underwater. There's also a moral ambiguity about the Rhine maidens, childlike and innocent on one level, but quite content to lure strangers to their death. They might also represent a kind of nemesis, the justice that pursues the wrongdoer to the very end, because the Rhine maidens never give up in their desire to regain their stolen gold. The Sun. The natural Rheingold. Before it's stolen by Alberich, the gold lies at the bottom of the Rhine. In the eyes of the Rhine maidens, it outshines the sun when it wakes each morning, Their song to the Rheingold in the first scene of the first opera is joyful, childlike and exuberant. The gold in its natural state represents unspoiled nature, untouched by human greed and lust. The Aeon, or Judgment. The World Ash Tree. Here again Allergra Printz has gone for the Thoth naming of the card, which signifies the end of one world and the beginning of a new one, an overturning of the world order. It emphasizes the aspect of the Judgment card that says that for a new order to begin, the old order has to die. The new hope for humanity at the end of Götterdämmerung is brought about only by the twilight and ultimate destruction of the old gods. The World. The Ring Cycle. One of the first things you're ever likely to read in any account of Wagner's four operas is that their subject is the world. Its beginning, its fall from innocence, the heights and depths of humanity and its gods, heroism, betrayal, love and power. Ultimately, the Ring Cycle tells the story of a human woman who becomes wiser and better than the gods, and learns that only her giving up of her will, her desires, and ultimately of herself can bring about the world's redemption. Thanks for watching.